Hey everybody, it's Lisa DeLay. It's a cold January morning, but I wanted to come on to just talk to you for a few minutes about a few things. One is I'm using a lavalier microphone recommended to me by David Dalt. He's been just a wonderful supporter, a wonderful help technically for me, encouraging me. Thank you, David, so much. I'm using this lavalier microphone, and it's much easier this way to just on the fly record something. And I have you as supporters to thank for that. If you support me in the subscription or a Patreon, I can do things like, excuse me, make a recording like this with a lavalier mic. And I'm using some lighting that I got to, and that's all because you have contributed. Today I got something in the mail from my friend Phoebe. Phoebe just wrote this, and if you get it now, this is when you need to get it because it's for Lent. Lent starts next month. Phoebe Farag Michiel helped me greatly on my book that's coming out that you should get for Lent next year. But for this year, get this book. Phoebe is Egyptian and she's Coptic Orthodox, and that means a lot. These are the original Christians. These are the people who trace their beginnings to the Apostle Mark in 40 AD. And so there is so much that we can learn from this Eastern version of Christianity that is sometimes really distant from our own in the Western world. And what I didn't realize, I endorsed this book, and so they sent me this copy along with this sweet note thanking me. And I'll tell you what I wrote as the endorsement. It's just a real short thing here. Phoebe's work is a poignant way to experience the days leading up to Easter. When we hunger and thirst for righteousness, here is one way to be filled and guided. And of course, I completely believe that Phoebe has a lot of wisdom to teach us from the rich tradition that comes from Coptic Orthodox. But what I didn't realize is that this book also has some beautiful illustrations that come with the copy that I wouldn't have seen in the version I read. There's that one. There's this beautiful one here. That's of the Desert Father John the Dwarf, Abba John the Dwarf, who I write about extensively in my book. I'm very excited that our work has kind of overlapped in that way. It's really wonderful. And this is a pilgrim, a spiritual pilgrim. Beautiful illustration. You get those in this book too. And so you can journey with Phoebe as she takes us, and there'll be classes that she'll be doing for Lent this year. Do this year. If you're wondering what to do, what should I do for Lent? This would topple so many of the ordinary stale ways that we encounter Lent by going way, way back to the Christians of the East, where things all began. And I have a couple other things I wanted to tell you about too. This is the time to sign up for Winter Solace. And if you search this, Jen Late, Winter Solace 2025, you can come on and be part of what's happening for Winter Solace. This is coming up, I think, at the end of the week. And if you hurry, you can get in on that. I will be there teaching, as well as others, a wonderful group of presenters. And the theme is stillness. And I'm going to be bringing you some exclusive material that's coming out in my new book, as well as some things I've written about before. And I have written about stillness in terms of spiritual practice and inner stillness. I'm going to be using those materials and my own experience too to lead us in a class where we can encounter stillness for ourselves, appreciate it in a deeper way. And I'm going to be reading from my first book about stillness in the chapter 6 called Still Waters. And then I'm going to be reading some exclusive material nobody's read yet that is from my new book. And there's quite a bit on stillness there. And I'll be sharing that in a reflection time. We'll have some time of interaction. We'll have some time of prayer. And it really is going to be a blessing. It'll be a blessing for me to be there and see all of you, and for us to sort of exchange ideas and really begin 2025 connected, still, grounded. There's so much tumult and uncertainty in our world, but one of the things we know we can do is find the inner center, the stillness where God resides deep within us. So that's a little bit of a preview of what's happening. And I hope that this message receives you well. And it's just me with no makeup on today, just reaching out to you to wish you a good January and to welcome you along in what's happening. I almost forgot to mention the people who participate in the Winter Solace will be invited to be beta testers of a new assessment and discovery tool I'm doing about the inner terrain, which was part of my book called The Wild Land Within. And this assessment tool will help us assess ourselves and our inner terrain in keeping with the material of the book, but also if you want to be able to build your own visual map of your inner terrain, that's something that will be possible now. And I've been working on this tool. So there's an assessment part, but there's also a visual part where you can have a printout made or download that is your inner world. You can refer back to it as you grow, and it can change, of course, and it can be a kind of spiritual discovery tool for yourself. Some people might want to put it away and refer back to it. Other people might want to actually frame it and print it because it's going to be so beautiful and interesting. So I'm really excited to sort of test this tool out with beta testers. And the people invited to Winter Solace will be some of those people that are invited to be part of this beta testing group. I hope that might be you. I hope you might be interested in that. And if you've read my book, The Wild Land Within, you'll already have a lot of the background. Even if you haven't read it, you can still participate and it'll still make sense. But if you've read the book, it's going to really click for you about what's happening. The 3 chasms, the weather fronts, the 8 weather fronts, and all this terrain of predator and prey, fire bogs, all that will really click and make sense in deeper ways if you've read the book. But if you haven't, it'll still, I think, be a very helpful self-assessment tool and discovery tool, spiritually speaking. And I hope you're as excited about it as I am. So, blessing and peace to you.